Good evening. If you could hear what we hear before we go live, it's mad. Our Liam, he's done airline Crafters TV Airlines today. So yes, it's been hilarious. It keeps us entertained, keeps us on our toes. He's just been in and done the exit signs for us as well. But that's just another story.
But we're not allowed to use them until 8 p.m.
No, they're sealed shut until 8 p.m. They don't work. They're one way only. Right, so it's lovely to have you here. We are here for our last show of the day on Crafters TV doing Colour Me Happy, but this is a mixed media Colour Me Happy show. So yes, this is going to be all things mixed media. Now, if it's mixed media, we need our Jan, don't we? We need our Jan. And do you know what? She means business. She means serious business. The penny is on. Good evening, Jan.
This is me at the ready look, isn't it? Yeah, yep. So yes, I forgot it last time I was here, and I'm always very aware that there's a lot of, as you saw, if you were watching earlier, as you saw earlier, a lot of opportunities to get it everywhere. So I thought, right, get the apron on. It is an old one, guys. I know there's some lovely purple ones out there now, which I don't have the privilege of owning. This is an old one that I used to have when I was working at the store, but it's still got our lovely logo on, so it works for me. Good. So those of you that have purple ones, I love the purple ones, but I don't have one.
No.
But yes, really looking forward to this. We've got lots of colouring media. We've sort of mixed the mixed media with the Colour Me Happy, because we've got lots of different colouring mediums that I'm going to show you how to use with your card making, but with that little bit of a mixed media slant on it. Yes, so quite an interesting show tonight.
Perfect. I did a page when I did a mixed media show. I did a couple of mixed media shows, and I just sort of said the definition of mixed media is any two crafted materials together, two mediums together. Yep. So a lot of people get scared by the term mixed media. Mixed media scares a lot of people, but don't. As soon as you ink, heat emboss, and maybe put pearls on, you've done mixed media. In its simplest form. So that's what it's all about. And I think so many people get frightened by mixed media, but don't. It's a really great way to craft. Right, now I'm going to do our little bits of housekeeping before we start. So, as you know, we've still got our Nicola and Liam in the gallery. They're here, and Jake is still around getting tomorrow's shows ready. Don't know where he is. He's somewhere about. If we needed him, I could shout him loud enough. And we've got, this evening, we've got our Susie on the social. So good evening, Susie. In fact, she's very excited because she's not done a Colour Me Happy show for a while. So yes, this will be good. Now, we've got a couple of offers on this weekend. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is our Taste Of weekend. So Taste Of. So this is if you are in the Club Inspire, or even if you're not, this is sort of giving you a taste of what it would be like to be on the next level. So if you are new and you've never placed an order with us before, your first order, we're going to pop you in and give you platinum, the equivalent of platinum membership. So today you're going to get 25% off everything. That's not off the original prices, that's off any discounted bundle prices or individual prices. So you're going to get 25% off there. But let's start at the bottom. If you are already a Club Inspire and you're a bronze member, we're going to up you to 10%. Silver, we're going to increase you to 15%. Gold, that way. Gold, we're going to up you to 20%, and platinum, we're going to up you to 25% off all orders. So we're going to knock a quarter off that final price of all of your orders today. And it's not saying, oh, it's only stuff on discount. It's even things that just released this week. So if you're after those punches, well, you're going to get an extra 25% off today, even though they only launched this week. So that is a brilliant deal. Now, the other deals we have got on really work with these shows today. So we have got 10% off all Spectrum Noir tools and accessories. So your brayers, your blending tools, all of those, 10% off. That's before you then get your Club Inspire discount off, so it's even better. Then the other offer we've got is your 3 for 2 on Spectrum Noir single pens. So this is on your Classique pens we worked out. Remember, there's 216 Classique pens in the collection. I know, it was on our craft. Come on then. Play your craft right, that's one. Thank you, Nicola. Totally lost that word there. Play your craft right last week. We had to say how many pens there were. 216. So you can do 3 for 2 on any of those 216, or on your re-inkers, they're also in the 3 for 2. So make sure you build your bundles to work for you and get as many as you can while you can do the 3 for 2s, the 10% and also the extra 5% discount. So brilliant. Now the final one we want to tell you about before we get going is if you buy a voucher. So in lieu of the fact that it is Mother's Day here in the UK in 2 weeks' time, we've got our Mother's Day offer. And that is if you buy a gift voucher for somebody else, of a value of at least £10, $10 or €10, we will give you an extra £5 back to you, credit you for an extra £5, $5, €5, depending on where you are. So yeah, so give someone a gift and then you're giving yourself a bit of a gift too. So that's perfect. But whilst all the other offers that I've mentioned before are as many times as you order, this one down here is a one-time purchase. So make sure you will only be able to use that one once. So just so that you know. Okay, now because it's mixed media, we're going to I've got lots of people saying hello, and we'll go through those in a minute. Oh, go ahead. 10, 20, 12 people already on there. So we'll go through that. But first, I want to quickly show you our mixed media showstopper deal. So this is brilliant if you're thinking, oh, I fancy having a go at mixed media, but I haven't got any of the bits and pieces. Now, I don't know where to start. I'll start at the bottom and work my way up. Now, we're going to give you a pad of our premium watercolour card. As you can see, this is 9 by 12, so it's bigger than your A4. So A4 is 8 1/4 by just shy of 12 inches. So this is just that little bit bigger, so that's brilliant. And it's our premium watercolour card. When you lift it up, you can actually feel it really is. It's 300 GSM. So if you really do want to get your inks and your waters out, this is going to work really, really well. So you're going to get a pad of that. Right, let me just tell you, there are less than 50 opportunities to get this. Okay, so you are really going to have to get a wriggle on if this is what you want. We've got your acrylic paint pens, and this is in your dual colours. So your dual colours are going to give you pink, orange, purple and violet. You can see on there. These are brilliant. They'll work on so many surfaces. They'll work on stone, wood. They'll obviously work on paper, metal, tin, plastic, glass. Anything you think of, you can then be colouring with these gorgeous, gorgeous colours. We're then going to give you your 3 of your tricolour aquas, and you can see the colours there, but I'm going to show you a little bit better. There you're going to get your bright florals, so you've got your rose pink, your jasmine and your tulip. You've got your warm fiery, which is your gold, crimson and sunset. And then you've got your fresh verdant, which is your bud green, meadow and verdant green. Now remember, these are aqua pens, so you can be blending these together to create so many more colours out of these. So that is really, really useful. So you're getting all 3 of those in a set. You're getting a full pot of your gilding wax. It's not a small trial pot, it's the full size. You're going to get your watercolour ink, and I think this is what our first demo is going to be based on, these watercolour inks. You're going to get a re-inker, FL3, which is FL3. What does Fire Lemon 3? There you go, Fire Lemon. Thank you, Nicola. What's FL3, Jan?
Isn't it?
Fluorescent.
Oh, no, they're neon, aren't they? The
Oh, I don't know. It's a bright yellow.
Yeah, they are the neons.
Neons.
Yeah, fluorescent.
Fluorescent. Yeah. Thank you, Nicola. I'm never going to listen to you again. I'm never listening to you again. Right, fluorescent yellow. Oh, that's not bad. And storm grey in our Cosmic Shimmer Iridescent Pigment Stains. Oh, she's just naughty. We've got 4 of our spray misters. This keeps going. 4 of our blending eggs and a rectangle blending tool. So we were talking earlier, rectangle or circles. That is just personal preference. In this bundle, we're giving you the rectangles. Now, all of that should be £66.92 or £102.32. But today's price is, and you can see it there, £40 or $60. Now, our Nicola's done some very magic wizardry, so our platinum prices now reflect the true 25% discount. And today it's £30 or $45 if you're a platinum Platinum Club Inspire member. That is an amazing deal for all of that bundle, so you don't have to choose what you want. Now, the other bundle I want to quickly show you before Jan starts her demo and quickly see who, gosh, we've got lots of people on board now, is this Nature's Garden stencil and embossing selection. So what you're going to get is you're going to get your Sarah Signature Garden Party delicate doilies. This is absolutely beautiful. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So you're also going to get your Wisteria Whisper, which is an embossing folder. It's a 2D embossing folder, but then you've got the 3 stencils. So if you think that looks lovely, but I haven't got the patience to get the colouring absolutely spot on like that, don't worry. These 3 stencils, lay them over at the different points. One will do the dark, one will do the green, one will do the dark purple, one will do the light purple. So absolutely perfect. And then the third one, and I do think this is probably one of my favourite embossing folders that we do. Now this is a 3D embossing folder. I can tell the minute I pick it up, I can feel it's a 3D embossing folder. We're then going to give you all of these stencils so that if you want to create this with your inks or your pens, you can create this really, really quickly, really, really easily. Now you're going to get all of that, instead of being $24.97 or $32.89, today your price is $9.99 or $12.95. But that's not where we're going to stop. If you're a Platinum member, wow, £7.49, $9.71 for all 3 of those. That is amazing. Right, very quickly, because I know you're chomping at the bit for us to see our Jan, so let me quickly say hello. I'll quickly go through the names, unless there's something really important. So we've got Lois Gathis, I think in Ohio, Regina Boyd in Buffalo, Anna Galvin in Houston, Wanda Sexton in Idaho, beautiful sunny day there. Kendall says, excited of learning from Jan. Diane Cadman in Llanfair, I think that's in Wales. Veronica Cleary, oh, how I love a Jan Mixed Media Show, don't we all, Veronica. Mary Beth Doyle from Minnesota. Lynn Harvey says, hello, everyone, she's in the UK. Wanda Sexton says, I know it's going to be fun. Jan's got her apron on. Wow. Barbara is from India. Anna, Lois comes back again and says, Jan, the Mixed Media Queen. Suzanne Dawn says, hi everyone, been eagerly waiting for this show. Go Jan. Crafty Angie says, love when Jan is here. Teacher extraordinaire. There you go. You. Charlotte Everett says, good evening everyone here in Herne Bay. Anne Cagle, hello again from Arkansas. Oh, Patrina Hooper says, oh, don't know if you know this one, Jan. Can you bake the acrylic pens on glass to make them permanent, or do they scrape off?
I don't think you can bake them.
You don't need to bake them, they're permanent.
But they do set pretty permanent. I don't think they'd be dishwasher safe or anything like that. They are an art medium, they're there for decorative purposes. So I think to be decorating plates and expect them to go through the dishwasher would be a bit much.
Yeah.
You could always add, excuse me, I thought I was going to sneeze then. You could always add like a varnish over them if it's a decorative element, or if you wanted to go with something outside, you can put an external, you know, they do an outdoor varnish, things like that. But they are aimed at a decorative element. They're not, whereas it will set and it will stay in place. I think should you start, you know, sort of popping a dishwasher jet on them, it would dislodge them, or damage them, scratch them, Yeah.
Okay, perfect answer, thank you. We've got Patty Hurd saying good morning from California, so excited to see Jan. Panda Craft says hello from Donny, that's Doncaster. You Expressions, that's Candy, says Candy from Portland, Oregon, hey there. And finally, Linda Armstead says hello from Maryland, all. Oh, and then Claire Brunier, I think. Sorry if I said that wrong. Hi all, I haven't watched for a little while, but I can't miss Jan and Mixed Media. Nor can we. So I'm going to stop there. I've shown you our first 2 bundles, some cracking deals. Don't forget, you're going to get your extra 5% off on those. But Jan is going to show you some of the ways to use some of the things that we've been showing you. Yeah, we've got lots of techniques lined up for you that I'm actually going to make into projects, because sometimes I think, you know, we show you the technique and then it's like, well, what do I do with it now? So I have sort of got finished projects to make with them. And like I said, if you were watching earlier, what I wanted to do with
with this one is we've sort of combined the mixed media with the Colour Me Happy show, because a lot of what I've brought tonight are colouring mediums. So lots of different inks, we've got embossing powders, we've got the stains and things like that. They're all some kind of colouring medium, which is where the Colour Me Happy bit comes in. But I'm going to do very little actual colouring. So I'm going to do different techniques with them that you can use with different elements. I may choose one. For example, we're going to use these watercolour pearlescent inks to start with, but there's nothing to stop you doing this same technique with the pigment stains, with some of our watercolour pens. I know we were talking about things like the sparkle inks and the, what's the other one I'm thinking about? Inks in a jar. Tell me again, Liam. The aqua tints, thank you. Yes, I knew he'd be on it, you see. So yeah, anything like that that's a water base. And this is what I love. I've said this many, many times. Don't get me wrong, I love my alcohol markers, and I tend to do a lot of colouring. They're my go-to for a colouring. If I want to stamp and colour in, or you know, whatever it is that needs some colour. But as far as actually playing together, the water-based products are brilliant, because alcohol really is there for colouring. You saw us do that little bit earlier with the re-inkers, if you were watching the show earlier. But again, anything that's got a water base will play with another product that is a water based. And that's why it's good to have these in your sort of, you know, supplies. All right, so I've just picked a couple. I've actually got the Ray of Sunshine, and I have actually got my Radiant Orchid back in its bottle. If you were watching earlier, we had a major accident where it ended up all over the place, but I have got the bulk of it. I hardly wasted any, so I'm quite pleased. So object of this demo is not to spill it everywhere. So these are actually a Cosmic Shimmer product. Cosmic Shimmer is one of the Creative Expressions brands who we've worked with for a long time now, and we used to stock, I used to have the Cosmic Shimmer products in the store when I was working in the store. They are second to none for this kind of, you know, colouring medium. So these are a very sort of translucent watercolour ink, but then they've got a mica in them that brings in that beautiful pearlescent shade. Now I've been busy shaking away at them because quite often the mica settles in the bottom. It's a heavier substance than the water sort of that it's suspended in. So if you stock them stood up like this, it will fall to the bottom. If you have them laid down in some kind of tray, it will settle in this half of the bottle. So you do need to give them a good shake to mix them up. So I've been doing that while Corrine's been just introducing the show. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in one of the stencils that we've got in that deal that Corrine's just showed you. So this is actually the Delicate Doilies from our garden party range. So we've got a 6x6 inch stencil, and I'm actually going to bring in a product that isn't on the show, and I know I'm a bit naughty with this. I've done this once or twice, but some of you may have some in your stash. It comes under a lot of different guises. Mine's actually a Pebeo product. Now we sell the Pebeo gesso on the website, which we can get the white gesso, but this is actually a modelling paste by the same company. Now it sometimes comes under the heading of texture paste. It's basically a paste that dries raised. So I'm actually going to bring it through the stencil, and because, I mean, it is only very, very thin, the stencil. You can see there, you know, we're probably talking less than 1 millimetre. But when I actually pop it through the stencil, it will stay at that height. When I take it away, it's not going to flatten on the cardstock. So I'm going to use this in conjunction with my colours. And this is one of the beauties about having that large container of white texture paste, because you can then colour it with any of your watercolour products. So what I'm going to do with the watercolour pearlescent inks would also work with the intense pigment stains that we've got on the show, which I'll show you later. Like I said, if you've got sparkle inks or aqua tints, depending on the strength of it, you're going to get a different depth of colour. But yeah, you can colour it with absolutely anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my craft mat out first of all, which again we've got on the show, and I've talked about the fact that this is actually the same size as your glass mat. So we're looking at I think it's 19 inches by 13 inches, I believe, if I remember rightly. All I do is cut mine in half because they're easier to work with, they're easier for me to travel with. I don't like rolling it up because I can never get it flat again. So I've just got two pieces. I keep one for mixed media and the other half of it I tend to use with the inks because it cleans up a bit better. So I'm going to pop my stencil, and I've just got a piece of cardstock slightly bigger than what I'm going to work on, just so that when it's virtually impossible to avoid going over the edges with the when you're popping the texture paste in. So I always work on a slightly bigger bit of card, and then you can cut it down afterwards. So let me just move this over to this side. All right, so I'm just going to tack it in a couple of places so that it stays where I've put it. Now, alternatively, if you prefer, you can use our repositionable spray. If you have the stick and spray, you can actually spray the reverse of your stencils and they become tacky, so they will stay where you put them, and then peel them off. And it lasts probably 2, 3, 4 times. You don't have to apply it every time you use the stencil. If you do that, I tend to then store my stencil on a piece of acetate, because obviously you don't want it to stick if you're keeping them inside your packet or anything like that. But this time I'm just going to tape it down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a little bit of the texture paste out. I was just saying earlier, mine's getting a wee bit low, so I'm going to have to source some more. There we go. And a little bit, whoops, all over. I told you it's been one of them days today. Okay. Oops, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the colouring medium to colour that texture paste, and then I need my palette knife back because we've just literally managed to get a bit in there already. Come away. And then I want that bit back over there. So we're going to pop a little bit. I'll do the pink one first. So this is that Radiant Orchid. And again, if you haven't come across these before, I love the fact that they've got the little dropper is actually inside the bottle. So you've got the little pipette inside the bottle. And if you depress this, if I hold this in front of me so that you can see that, and squeeze this down, it sucks up the ink into the pipette. All right, so it's all ready to go. And then if you press it again, it's going to release it back out of the pipette. So I'm just going to pop a few drops in there. We'll do the pink one first. And literally, it's great. It's like, you know when you used to make mud pies when you were little? Honestly, it gives you license to just be messy. And this is what I love about doing the mixed media. It's like you very rarely get two things look the same. You know, depending on how much of the colour you put in. If you want a more intense colour, just add a bit more of the colour in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some of this, and I'm just going to start at one side of my stencil, and literally it's just like buttering your toast. So you're just going to grab the product and then just smooth it across. Okay. So I'm going to pop this in one half. It is, yep.
Gritty and granular then?
No, this is actually a smooth one. You can get grit paste that have that sort of sandy texture in it, but this is actually a smooth one. Now, obviously, the more colour you add to it, the more you're going to dilute it. So just be aware of that as with regards to how far you go, because if it's too runny, it's not going to set.
Ah, I see. When you say dilute it, you mean the paste? Yes.
The consistency of the paste, yeah. So I'm going to leave that one there for a second because we're going to come back to that one. And then I'm going to do the same with the yellow. Okay. So again,
you're going to be shaking out that bottle again in a minute.
Give it a press. And then I'm going to drop some of the yellow into this one. Make sure we get the lids back on today, Jan. That's the secret, okay? Right, I just want to grab a little bit of a wet wipe because I don't want to contaminate that one yet with the pink. Okay, and again, we're just going to mix this one into the paste again, just to create that sort of lemony shade. Because the paste's white and it's opaque, it's literally going to give you quite a pastel shade.
Don't pink and yellow work so well together?
Yeah, it's really sort of, as I say, I'm very much into spring at the minute. I'm waiting for it to get here. So again, I'm going to sort of spin round, because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to come down the other side with the lemon. So exactly the same, pick some up off your mat, get it in place, and you can't really go wrong with this. You know, you're literally just spreading it about until it covers the area that you want it to go in.
And like you said, you're going to be trimming this down at the end anyway.
So I'm not worried about what's going off the edge. I've actually trimmed mine down considerably for the project. I'm not going to use the whole 6-inch square. So even, you know, the stencil 6x6 doesn't mean you have to end up with that as a, you know, a finished size. So you can see there we've got the lemon one on. So I'm just going to spin it back so that I've got my paste at this side. Now I might need just a fraction more of the paste, because what we're going to do now is we're going to mix the two, and we're going to get like a, you know, a peachy colour in the middle. Now I don't need a lot for this because we're only coming down the middle, and it'll join the two together. So I'm going to mix in what I've already got.
Kendall's saying, can you use any type of acrylic paste?
It needs to be a texture paste that dries raised. Yeah, that's the whole idea. Otherwise, when you remove the stencil, it's just going to, you know, not
talking about this before the show. So a paint's no good because it just...
You could use a paint through it, don't get me wrong. You could use a paint, you could use an ink, you can do anything through it. But if you want that raised element, which I'll show you when I've just finished what we're doing, then it needs to be some kind of texture paste because it dries raised. So just mixing those together now, you can see we've got a completely different colour. So this is going to bridge between the two now. So I'm going to bring this one into the middle. I don't mind if it overlaps slightly with what's already there, because you get that lovely kind of like a blending, almost a little bit when you're using your inks, and you get the overlap in the middle. You'll get like a slightly different shade. So yeah, just smooth it out until you've got it where you want it to go. Make sure that all those areas are covered. Okay. And then when you're happy with it, we're going to remove the stencil. So that one's just going to have a little bit of that cleaned off. I'll sort the mat out in a second. And then what we're going to do is lift up. Okay, are we ready? Liam's on the edge of his seat, bless him, in there. So I just need to release the tape there so that we can lift the stencil. This is where I end up getting really messy tonight. There we go. So we've got that hinge still at the top, but when we take it up, you can see we've got that lovely design. Now, the reason that I've used a texture paste, let me just pop that one over there ready, is because I want it to dry the depth of the stencil. And what I mean by that, if I bring the one in that I've actually done and cut down, it takes probably a good, I would think the best part of a couple of hours to dry on its own, which I prefer to let it do. You can heat dry it with the heat tool, but if you get it too warm, you'll find that the paste starts bubbling. Now that brings a whole different texture to it. If that's what you're looking for, go for it. So that's a whole different story. But in general, to get that nice smooth finish like I've got here, you can see it's dried a little bit more chalky because of that texture paste that was in it originally. You can see here this one's still wet, so the actual colours in here are still quite vibrant. You can see there that we've still got that wet element to it. But once it's dried, all I've done is cut it down to the size that I want for my project. And you've got, when you feel it, Corrine, when she had a look at it, she said, oh, I thought it was an embossing folder, because you've got that lovely raised element. It's really hard to show you on screen, but it's actually got the same depth as the stencil on there, and it's just really tactile. So again, you know, for anybody that's maybe visually impaired or anything like that, it's nice to have something that's got that tactile finish on it for them to have a feel at, rather than possibly being able to see it properly. So I'm going to just pop that one over there, and I will sort out all that mess in a second. Okay.
Lillian says, fancy some ice cream now. I can understand. It's a bit... Yeah,
it is. It's like a tutti frutti, isn't it? Yeah, we'll go for.
Pamela says, wow, that is beautiful. And Zoe Carver says, ooh. And Kate Kay says, could you sprinkle some clear glitter on it while it's wet?
Absolutely, yeah. I would do that before you remove the stencil. So leave your stencil in place, just a little bit of either fine crystal glitter, coloured glitter. You could do the different colours to match what you put underneath. Absolutely, and that would dry within the paste then, and you'd get like a slightly different finish because it might feel a little bit grittier, but you'd get that lovely sparkle in there as well. Looks really nice as well when you use your sparkle inks to add the colour to the texture paste. So yeah, that's where we're heading with that one, just using those watercolour inks. But as I say, some of the products that I'm going to bring up in the next demos, the next few demos, would also work with this. So just to make this into a design then, I have actually popped together just a simple, it was actually 6x6 square, but obviously because our cardstock isn't quite 12 inches long, I've got a gap, but I'm not worried about that because I'm going to fold this one back. And then I've used some of that pink cardstock that I was using earlier and made one to go inside. And here I've just used the stencil as you would do normally with a little bit of ink on there. It's very, very subtle.
That's pretty.
But it's just going to join that to what's happening on the outside of the card. So again, let's just get that one stuck in.
That's nice being subtle, isn't it? Sometimes subtle's better.
Yeah, I've never been one for really bright colours. I do like the pastel shades, and I also like to decorate the inside of the cards as well. So I'm just going to pop that in that bottom corner. You can do as much or as little of that as you wish. You can do none if you don't want to. That's going to go inside. And then I've sort of come down in size to actually pop this one. And I'm going to put the pink on the outside and the yellow over here, so that when this goes in again, we've still got that little border. So we're building up those layers at that side. So this one's going to go, now that, you know, I've done it again. It's a good job I do this. I was ready to stick it down, but I decided I wanted to add a sentiment. And again, I'm a little bit on my vellum at the minute. I did this last time I was here, but this is just a sentiment stamped in the Versamark, not the Versamark, the clear watermark is the word I'm looking for, ink. And then I've just put gold embossing powder on it. So it says, flowers are like friends, they bring colour to your world, okay? And that's actually going to go on here, which is why I put the tape on the back. So it's a good job. It's there to remind me to actually wrap this around the front. So let's just take that off before I stick it onto the matte layer.
Do you do that sometimes when you're demoing? You show the finished sample, and then after the camera's gone away, you look on the desk and there's like three things you forgot. The ribbon
or things like, it's usually the ribbon I forget. So I've started putting the tape, because when I turn it over, I think, oh yeah, I need to put that on there as well. Now we can actually pop it on the matte layer.
That is good.
I'm terrible. I get that excited about putting the card together. I completely forget about, oh, I was going to wrap ribbon round there or whatever. In this case, it was the actual sentiment, you know, which sort of is quite an integral part of the card, isn't it? So again, that one's going to go on there. So the tape pen's more than enough to actually get that stuck down. And then I just want adhesive on this side. Okay, so I'm just going to put down halfway so that we can stick this onto the front of the card blank. So I'm just going to pop the tape on there and then use this side as a positioner here, so that we've got that sort of border around, and then stick that one down when we're ready. Okay, so you could leave it there. I felt as if it just needed a little bit of extra embellishment. So again, you said earlier that I'd had that Delightful Daisies set out. So I've been in the old scrap box and pulled out 3 colours that sort of roughly matched. I've got the yellow one, I've got the pink one, and then I just went for something that was similar to that sort of middle colour. And I'm just going to use these, and these are actually those daisy dies and the foliage that goes with it. This is actually a bigger piece, and I've literally just chopped into it to make it manageable. And we're just going to pop, let me find my glue gel again.
Do you know, if I'd have been doing that, I would have tried to have decorated the fold back. But do you know what? I love the simplicity of not decorating that fold back. It doesn't need it.
What do you mean underneath?
Yeah.
It depends what you were doing. Yeah, if I was going to use sort of pattern papers, I might have included something in there. But because we'd use the, you know, the bit that we'd created with the stencil.
Oh, I don't think it needs it, but I would have, you know, I would have been my go-to to have done that.
I'm going to bring that one over there as well, so that we can put the pink against the lemon at that side, I think. So just a little tiny bit in there, and we're going to pop that one in with those. And then I've got a little bit here with my pink one, which I'm going to pop, I think at the top there, and then just a little bit of foliage left to go in there. So yeah, that's my design, and that was using those pearlescent inks. But like I say, as I go through some of the other colouring mediums on the show tonight, I'll explain which ones you can do this same technique with. So again, just that fold back, using this as our focal point instead of a pattern paper, and then a little bit of embellishment with those lovely little flowers in the same colour tones.
That is absolutely beautiful. I do like that. That is so, so pretty. Right, I'm going to read some of these messages. Just a lot of them are just hellos, but I've got a couple of questions, if that's all right for you,
yep.
Jan. So, Renee says hi from Texas. Joanne says, hello everyone, I'm so thrilled for a prime time Colour Me Happy, and having Jan from Mixed Media is the icing on the cake. There you go. Michelle Knit said, are the craft along instructions on Jan's page? You didn't do any instructions, did you?
No, because you can actually watch the show back. So if you have a look on YouTube, once we've come off air live, then you can actually re-watch the whole show and see what I did, and all the details, all the measurements and everything are down in the show.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Stamp in Hand says, good afternoon from Missouri, celebrating 47 years of marriage to my wonderful husband. Hubby,
congratulations.
Well, congratulations, 47 years is impressive. It's been great. He set up a great crafting room for me so I can craft to my heart's content. Well, he's a keeper. If you haven't worked it out yet, after 47 years, I'm telling you, he's a keeper. There you go. Fred171 says, greetings from California. Sorry I'm late. Right, I'm not sure. I'll read this as it's typed. Teresa Robinson-Smith says, when using vellum, what colour pen would you use? Does she mean what type of pen rather than what colour?
Oh, maybe she could give us a bit more information, because this is actually, the one that I did on the vellum was embossing powder with my heat tool. So I've used the sticky ink with a dry embossing powder and then melted it with the heat tool. So just let us know a bit more information there,
that'd be
so
good.
that we can answer that one for you.
Okay,
yeah?
We've got Michelle Parsons says, good afternoon from PA, my crafty friends. Where's PA? I don't know, my...
Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia, I've been told. I don't know all these. Now, welcome. We've got Linda Kyle says, hello everyone from Pennsylvania. Hope you're all having a great day. My first time here. Well, you are welcome. And so lovely to have you here. They're all saying hello and woo in the gallery too. Hopefully you'll be regular here, because I think most people really do keep coming back. We've got Andriana saying good afternoon everyone from San Antonio. Pamela Greenidge says, oh, never seen this done before. Thanks, Jan, for a new idea. Kendall says, oh, I asked that about any type of acrylic paste. Oh, did those. Loads of people saying how pretty that was. Juliana, Panda Crafts, Adriana, Anne, Stamp in Hand, Regina Boyd, Lynn Harvey, all saying how beautiful it is. And Kendall, and Kay Redstead. Veronica Cleary says, if you didn't have texture paste, would it be possible to do it with gesso? I asked the same question, but I'll let Jan answer.
You could do it with gesso, and yes, you could add the colour to gesso, which would create you. Gesso is essentially a paint rather than a texture paste. So I tend to think of it as primer, the gesso. So if you're wanting to put, for example, a nice bright colour onto some MDF, you might put the gesso, the white gesso, on first so that your colour showed as a true colour and wasn't drained by the brown MDF behind it. So that's how gesso normally works. So it is actually like a paint. Now, yes, you could colour that paint, so you could make lots of different colour gessos by adding those colouring mediums, those watercolour mediums to it. And yes, you could run it through your stencil. The only difference is that it wouldn't dry raised. Because it's a paint, you'd get more of a flat design on your card, whereas this has actually got quite a, even though the stencils are only thin, it's surprising how much texture it leaves on the cardstock. So yes, the answer is yes. You would just get a slightly different finish with it, that's all.
Perfect.
Yep.
I knew the answer to that one because I asked the same question, so there you go. So yeah, we all think the same. There we go. Now, Pandacraft says, what inks are best for vellum on parchment? And could you get a similar effect from tracing paper?
Yes, you could. Tracing paper tends to be a little bit more fragile. Vellum's a slightly different makeup, so it is a bit more robust, even though I would still class it as being quite delicate. And I must admit, I tend to use, if I just want to stamp onto vellum with an ink, I do tend to use my StazOn ink, which was designed for non-porous surfaces. So things like, it will go on acetate, it will go on vellum, it will go on sort of miricard, things like that. If you're wanting to do the technique that I did on there, I actually used my sticky ink, so my translucent clear watermark ink, which is not so clean now, but yours will come nice and clean there. You can just see mine's well loved. And then added gold embossing powder, which is a dry powder that sticks to the ink. And then when you heat it, it melts. Okay. Perfect. So 2 different ways of doing it. But yeah, I found that is the best one for stamping onto those surfaces.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Lynn Harvey says, beautiful card, Jan, I love the colours. Christine Mahoney says, that's beautiful, Jan. Kendall says, are those paper or foam flowers?
They're paper. They're just cardstock. They're the white multi-purpose cardstock. And, oh no, I'm telling a fib. They're actually scraps of textured cardstock. Yes, my scrap, I have a bag of scrap that's all textured cardstock. So and it's all, of course, it's filed in colour order, you know. So I just went in the relevant sections and just pulled out some little scraps and then die cut it out of there. Perfect. But yeah, you could colour it with your inks. If you were watching this morning, we did the flowers made out of the plastic UPO paper with the alcohol inks. They could be foam flowers, they could be fabric flowers, whatever you fancy.
Brilliant, brilliant. Pandacraft says, I love the fact that it's simple yet elegant. Barbara says, such a lovely card. Michelle Parsons says, would the alcohol ink work on wax paper? I think it would be cool to colour some and then run it through an embossing folder.
On wax paper.
Would it would sit on it, wouldn't it? Would it pool on it rather than soak in?
No, because the UPO paper is non-porous as well. So obviously that's not one I've tried actually. Again, you know, I'm open to suggestions. I don't profess to know everything. Technically, you've got a smooth surface. It's whether that wax surface would be too slippy, basically, to contain the colour. Again, it's not something I've tried. I certainly wouldn't go for tracing paper because, as I say, it is very, very fragile. But on the wax paper, again, that might have to be on my to-do list to try. Okay. But like I said earlier, if you were watching earlier, if you're not sure about any of these things, just get a little bit and have a go. You know, you perhaps just need a little tiny strip to see. You'll soon know whether the ink will behave on that kind of surface or whether it's just going to run off. And if it does, you've tried it and you've got the answer. But yes, I'll add that to my list of things to try.
Nearly there. So Charlotte Everett says, I'm having trouble with my straight tape pens jamming. Can you offer some advice, please? Is there a way of unjamming it without breaking the tape?
I'm not aware of unjamming them. The point is to get to them before they jam. I know I've read a lot about this on social media, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, that it doesn't happen on mine. A lot of people have been semi-critical about them because they think it is, but I think the biggest fault with them jamming is going too fast with the tape. Okay, just take your time. If you notice when we're demoing, we do take our time to draw that line and then flick it to break that adhesion. If you go really fast with it, you're actually unravelling this faster than it can cope with. And I think sometimes you have issues with the adhesive leaving the carrier. So sometimes you just get the carrier sheet comes out, and sometimes it just stops working altogether. It's if the case of that, no, I'm not playing because you've abused me, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's one of those things where they are 22 metres of tape on there. So if you think, you know, if you're going to pull it really fast across and use it all over your, you know, the back of whatever you're sticking, the faster that you pull it out of here, the more chance it's going to actually aggravate that that system inside where it moves. What happens is the tape starts off on the left and it's got a carrier sheet on it. And as you use the adhesive, the carrier sheet goes round and goes onto this side. So you'll notice that that big reel moves to the other side. If you interfere with that flow, the only thing the tape pen can do is jam. Yeah. It's got nothing else to do. If you interfere with the flow of it coming out of the, what I call the nib here on the pen, it can't do anything else but jam. It's just going to say, right, well, I've got no tape to give you. My adhesives come off the carrier sheet. I don't know what else to do, so I'm just going to jam up. So all I would say is treat them with care, you know, love them. They're part of your kit. And if you're gentle with them, I don't have a lot of problem. I know I've been very tempted to reply to some of the threads that have been on Facebook, but I just think, you know, it's about looking after your products. That's all I can say.
Brilliant, brilliant. Oh, this, I didn't know this. Fred, 171 said, texture paste is just a mixture of talcum powder and PVC glue. There are videos on how to make it.
Oh, there you go.
So there you are, if you fancy having a go at that. So absolutely brilliant. Lots of comments, lots of you watching. I knew you would once you saw what we were doing. So we'll just recap the lovely mixed media showstopper deal. The 10-piece deal is today, instead of £66.92, is £102.32. I'll quickly pick it back up. I put it under the counter. Quickly pick it back up just so that you can see what you're going to get. You're going to get blending tools, you're going to get blending eggs, you're going to get spritz bottles, so you've got 4 of each of those. You're going to get the FL3, which in the re-inker. You're going to get the, let me see, the, lost the colour, pearlescent, holly green, sorry, I lost the colour. Holly green in the cosmic shimmer with the watercolour ink. You're going to get the colour storm grey in the cosmic shimmers. You're going to get the lovely grey gilding wax. You're going to get all 3 of the aqua pens. It's going to give you 9 colours in total. And remember, aqua pens can make more colours. So all of your colour in medium techniques with those. You're going to get your acrylic paints that we said will go on so many mediums. You can see the colours across the top there. And finally, we're going to give you the premium watercolour pad, 20 sheets of the 300 GSM. You really can tell the difference with this. It really is, as it says, a premium product on there. So all of those today, £30 or $45 if you're a Platinum member, which is an amazing price. It's a lot less than half price if you're Platinum. So yeah, worth doing. Oh, look at that, 37 left. So they're going down at quite a rate, are those? So be quick. Once they're gone, they're gone. There won't be any more of those left. And if you do want to have a go, you've got, like you say, you could have a go with the re-inkers for the techniques that Jan showed you this morning. You'll be able to have a go with the watercolour inks that we've just seen. And I do believe at some point Jan's going to show you a cosmic shimmer demo. So yeah, all of the ways that you want to do it. So it's just like your little taster on there. And then if you really did love Jan's demo. Now, can I just say, if you're a Platinum member, what you're paying for is essentially your stencil. I mean, I don't know exactly what that retails for, but it won't be much far from your £7.49. You're not going to be paying for everything, you know, everything else. So instead of £24.97, you're going to be paying £7.49 or okay, that's £4.97. But I knew it was going to be a lot less than either of the price of those. Well, they're £9.99 each. There you go, they're £9.99 each. If you're a Platinum member, you're not even paying for one of those. You're paying for less than that or less than that. So you're going to get your stencil from the garden party. You're going to get your embossing folder, which is a 2D one, and your 3 stencils from the Wisteria collection. And then for the Say It With Flowers, you're going to get the 3D embossing folder with the 5 stencils. Now, there's even less of this. There's 35 of these left. Now, if you do want to do Jan's technique and you thought that stencil was absolutely gorgeous, then there you go. That might be the one to go for. So yeah, as we said, brilliant, brilliant Platinum price. Now, another mixed media product that you all love are your gilding flakes. So we've got a brilliant deal. So you've got your patina. It's a patina 3-piece, so you've got 2 different golds and a green in there. So when you mix them together, you're going to get that lovely verdigris patina look. It will look brilliant. Now, each one of those are 50ml in total, so you're getting 150ml of gilding flakes today for for £13.49 or $15.25, so a 10% saving, but your platinum price is even better, £10.12 or £11.44. But if that's not the colourway you want to go for, then how about this? This is your blush. Look at those gorgeous sort of rosy golds and pinks. Absolutely beautiful. Same price there, $13.49, $15.25, but you're going to go again with the pinks, and again 50ml in each pot. Or if you want something a little bit more vibrant, how about going for Carnival? Exactly the same price, $13.49, $15.25. Now, again, still with the 50ml. Oh, I think that might be the final one in this. Oh, there's one more after this. So you've got your cosmic. So you've got your blue, your black, and your gold. And you might be thinking, oh, okay, that's a bit different, but black can look absolutely amazing, depending on what product you put it on. Looks fantastic. So all three of those, again, you know the price, $13.49, $15.25. Now, this is different. So these are 200ml pots. So each one of these pots is the equivalent of 4 of those smaller pots. So the price for this, wow, that's good. That's absolute bargain, because if you pay in $13.49 for 150, you've now got 600ml for $17.99. Doesn't compute, does it? Or $15.25. So you've got the yellow gold, the silver, and the sort of the bronzy gold as well. Absolutely gorgeous. I get massive flakes out of these pots that I've got at home with these. Absolutely brilliant. $13.49 if you're a platinum member. So yeah, just another different mixed media product that you might want to use. So we're going to go quick break on how to watch and how to shop here at Crafters TV.
If you love Crafters TV, we've made it easy for you to watch us wherever you are. Whether you catch us on your tablets or take us with you on your mobile phone, it's easy to watch us anywhere. From here to here. Maybe don't watch us here. It would be easy to watch us here. Probably the easiest place to watch us is here. Crafters TV, with you wherever you are.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
One that was really funny, Ben. You didn't.
It was better than your I'm a gnome and I live in a caravan.
I am a gnome and I live in a caravan.
Can we clip that? We'll do it. Everybody's gone surfing, surfing USA.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
You entertain us, you give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV, create every day.
Our craft experts come from all over the UK to HQ up in the northeast, and here they are telling you a little bit about where they're from and what it's famous for.
I'm originally from London, so Stoke Newington I was born and bred, and loved London. I mean, I love London now. Something really magical about being in the capital. Grew up in Norfolk, loved it. The countryside, the scenery, it was very green and just beautiful and picturesque. I now live in Bedford, which is brilliant for work and life, because I feel like Bedford is sort of central to all these places around us, so I get to see so many different places. It's just great to be there.
So I live in Barnsley. It's a town in South Yorkshire. And South Yorkshire's a gorgeous place. Barnsley in particular, I love. It gets a lot of flack, but it's a really beautiful, picturesque place to live, especially because there's lots of green places around there, lots of lovely parks and things like that, but it is a gorgeous place to live. Elthicka, neighbouring village to us, which is just full of history, and I love going there ever so lot. Famous, what's it famous for? Oh, the most famous thing I can think of is a film called Kes. A local author called Barry Hines, who lived in Oyland Common, made a very famous film called Kes that is well known from where I am, and actually filmed literally around the corner from where I live.
You lovely crafters are so wonderful. I love your comments. It's just absolutely, I love being here and being able to read the comments. Michael Chapman says, Jan needs to write a book called The Science Behind Crafting. There you go. A project for retirement, Jan. A project for retirement. She reminds me.
I don't profess to be an expert in any way. I've discovered a lot of this through playing.
Yeah.
And I always refer to it as playing because I love this side of crafting. Don't get me wrong, I love my paper collections. I collect all the Sarah Signature collections, all the Nature's Garden collections. I've got reams of them in my craft room, but I love this side of it as well. I love anything to do with colour and how it works with something else. I'm not afraid to try something. Like I said earlier, you know, the worst case scenario, you ruin a bit of card. If you're anything like me, you've got plenty of that as well. So yeah, I've got plenty to go at.
He says you remind him of past university professors. Charlotte says, thank you for the advice. We'll take a bit more time, take my time a bit more. I think Jan also approved of your comments. Barbara says, black gilding flakes. Wow. I missed a question earlier. You know, there was it said, what colour would you use to colour vellum? It actually, she came back and it's, what type of pen would you use to colour vellum?
Pens would need to be alcohol, yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I gone on offer to drift there, hadn't I? No, it would need to be alcohol on your vellum. So it's great for, like, you can use acetate, you can make that stained glass window effect with it because you can actually, on the reverse of your vellum, you can, if you stamped on the front with a, you know, with a nice ink, and then on the back of it, I would colour on the reverse of it rather than the front, and you get that lovely kind of translucent effect. Mm-hmm. And again, if you leave it as an aperture in your card so that there's light coming through it, you get that kind of stained glass window effect with it. So yes, definitely an alcohol pen. My apologies, I'd obviously misheard.
No.
What you'd said.
I think it said what colour, and we said we needed more information. And it actually was what type. So there we go. Right now, I have never seen the next product, so I'm really excited. I'm going to be watching Jan's demo very carefully. We're now going to be looking at the airless misters.
Yeah, not careless mister.
Not careless mister.
Airless misters, all right. When I've got Johnny in my ear, he's always singing Careless Whisper in my ear when we have these on, honestly. So yeah, these are another Cosmic Shimmer products. So if you want to have a quick look at them on there, there's quite a few colours, I think, Corrine. I've just picked one of them out, so...
We've got Pacific Point, we've got Flirty Pink, and we've got another one, Poppy Parade. So there you go, those are the three that we have here. And they are all £5.50 each.
Yeah, I think originally we had quite a broad range of colours, but I know these have been available for a while now, and I've had them on shows, and I think people are actually taking them on board. So last time I was here, I used the Poppy Parade, which is a real, what I call a true red, and we made a Valentine's card with it, which you guys voted card of the show, I think, on that particular occasion. Today I've actually got the Pacific Point, which is the most amazing shade of turquoise. Now then, a little bit about airless misters. So what's the difference between these and an ordinary colour ink mister? And the secret is in that title, the airless bit, and I'll talk to you about what that means in a second. But you've got in here, again, a water-based dye ink in here. So you've got quite a lot. Let me just, there's 50 mils in there. It's going to go a long way because you're only forcing it out of that little tiny sort of piece here where you squirt it out when you're misting it and spraying it. So it goes a long, long way. Very well pigmented. And again, I stress that water base because again, it will play with other products. So for example, the technique that we did at the beginning where we coloured that texture paste, or if you wanted to colour gesso, this would work just as well, but you're going to get that sort of matte finish on it because there's no extra micro glitter in these. They are just the ink. So when we talk about airless, it means that how many of you out there, I bet there's loads of you, and I know I used to fall foul of this, they used to buy the sprays and they used to clog up in the nozzle.
Oh, yes.
Every time you used to end up taking it apart, running it under the tap. And the reason is because you've got that long tube in here that relies on being able to drag up the product through the tube. Now, if I open you this one really carefully, you can see here that it's not got that long tube in there. Okay, so when the product, when this is depressed and it sucks the product up, it goes straight into here. Even when the product gets down to the bottom, because there's no air in the container, it's automatically going to bring it up.
But there must
through.
be air in the container. You've just taken the lid off.
Eh?
How can there not be air in the container? Because you just took the lid off.
Because it's just about full. So you might have got a little tiny bit there in the top.
Right.
But yeah, it's just about full. I wouldn't recommend taking the lid off it. I just took it off to show you the difference between them. So as a mister, okay, you've seen me on numerous occasions, just literally mist them. Let me just grab a piece of spare card there. What have we got left? We'll use that one. Yeah, and you see, and I tend to put it inside my box because it does have like a sort of a, it sprays out.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I tend to put it in my lovely, you know, piece of equipment. You can see there what it's
High tech, but it does the
yeah,
job.
part of the kit. So if you press it all the way down, you're going to get a nice spray of colour. If you just press it part of the way down, you get what I call drips of colour. So you get bigger sort of specks on there. So again, it depends what you're looking for. So a nice hard press.
Oh, wow.
Look at the intensity of the colour. But if I just press it so far, can you see how it's now dropping some of those larger pieces out?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the sort of the design on them. That's where that started. But then, you know, Jan, it's like, what else can we do with it? So I want us to pop that to one side for a second. And I'm actually going to use it in a different way tonight. So let's have a look. I have got, clean my mat up. This is a piece of that watercolour card now from the pad that Corrine showed you that we've got in that starter pack. And I've just cut this, I think if I remember right, it was 6.5, yeah, 6.5 square for the project that I wanted to use. And what we're going to do, instead of spraying this on, I'm actually going to pop a little tiny bit of colour again. And this is why I like to have the craft mat handy. So I'm just halfway pressing it so that I've got a little bit on there. Okay, and again, it's all housekeeping. Just make sure that that nozzle's clean and then keep it nice and secure. I'm also, out of my water bottle, I'm just going to pop some water down, or you can have it in a container if you wish. And then I'm just taking a paintbrush. So first thing I'm going to do, in fact, no, we'll do it this way. You'll get a better effect. So I want to saturate the brush. Okay, so I've actually loaded the brush with water, and then I'm going to load it with the colour, and then we're going to go on to here.
Wow. Do you feel like you can control, you got more, yeah, I can see you're getting a different lay down of the colour, aren't you?
Yeah, wait while we hit it with the water. Okay, so this is just the colour. I've just used the water here as an extension to get this liquid enough to sort of start, you know, sort of flicking onto here. So you don't need to go whack it. The harder you flick it, the further it's going to go. So it just needs a gentle. But then, when we add the water, remember this is water-based. It's meant to play with water. When we start with the water,
wow,
just look where we go. So again, I'm just going to hold that middle down. Your card will always buckle when you add water to it, so don't be afraid of that. It's just the nature of card. We can get it flattened again once we've dried it. Now I want to saturate this quite well because I want that ink to move about. Now there's no glitter, there's no mica in here. This is just pure ink, okay? So again, I can go into those gaps. Now once it's wet, you can see how that ink behaves.
It travels lovely, doesn't it?
It's just wicking into the wet areas on the card. So if
I like the effect of the more intense colour bits on top of the bit that you've already done.
So there we go, okay? So what I'm going to do next is get the heat tool. I'm just going to hold it with that hand.
So you could leave this to dry naturally?
For what I want to do, I want the heat tool now because I want to move the water around.
All right, okay.
So again, I've got it on its high setting and it is well saturated, so it does take a little while, but can you see how that water's moving around? And again, if you were watching earlier in the show, I did this with the ones that we used first off with the pearlescent watercolour inks. And what it does is it actually creates watermarks on the card. Now I've got quite a big area there. I want to move that about a bit. And you know, you can pick your card up and you can sort of guide it into different places. But just keep moving it about. You can see here where it's starting to dry, and I'll get our Liam to come and have a closer look when we've got somewhere dry. So again, let me just tip. I want some of this to move slightly. Here we go. Look, it'll follow its own tracks. So I've got quite a lot of water where it's sort of landed in the middle. So just move it about. If you've got too much water, just get the tissue again and just blot it a little bit. So just for speed, I'm just going to grab a little bit of kitchen paper and just take some of that excess out of the middle there.
Look at that, that looks so pretty.
But can you see where we've pushed it around, where you're getting that kind of effect? Now, I don't mind the white areas in it as well. I do want to make sure it's dry so that we can do the next part.
Wow, that is absolutely gorgeous.
So again, these are those days, and you've heard me talk about this before, when that mojo disappears, get yourself set up with your craft mat and everything and your messy sort of bits and pieces. I know some people like to wear thin gloves if they're doing anything, you know, with sort of pigment and stuff like that. And just make yourself some backgrounds. Just have a go with the product, see what it does. I think that's probably dry enough for what I need to do. And see where it goes, okay? So
you said
again,
there's no shimmer on that, but it almost is shimmering.
I think it's just the light on it. It's not actually got any shimmer. This is just an ink. It's just a water-based ink. But can you see how the water's made all these interesting sort of patterns in it? This is what I like to play around with. Now, what we were talking about earlier with the alcohol ink, that was where we'd had that gold round the edges. Now, you'd struggle to do that as much with a water-based ink, but it's this kind of technique with the gold dropped in the alcohol, and then when you move it, the gold sort of clings to the edges, okay? So I just want to do a quick clean up on there, and I'm going to show you, we're going to do a couple more bits to this. So again, you know, if you've got any surplus ink left, you could mop that up with another piece of cardstock. I'm literally just going to wipe it up for now because I want to move on to the next bit. I've got it all over the desk again. Look, I'm going to be in bother tonight when everything's coloured. Okay, so I want a clean bit of tissue, and it is water-based, so it will come off. But what I want to do now is I've brought one of my, now we've just brought out a brand new range of textured embossing folders, which funnily enough were in the game earlier, Corrine. Yep. This is my original set of textured folders, which are 8 by 8, and I've got quite a few different designs, but I love this one. This is the leaf vein. So what I'm going to do is just pop this inside. You can do this with any embossing folder. I like those bigger ones because you can work with that slightly bigger piece of cardstock. So 2D folder this time. So I need both of my clear plates here to sandwich that in and pass that through the Gemini.
And do you know what? I think that will emboss really well for the fact that there's probably some moisture left in the cardstock, because some people wet their cardstock before they spritz it. So you want it dry so the colour's not coming off, but moisture in your card is actually probably a bonus.
And it's sort of, it's almost, if you've ever experimented with that, it like sets the cardstock. It really gives it that idea of where you want it to be. So again, just going to open this up, and you can just pick up. I'm going to do something else to it, but you can just see there that sort of extra texture to it.
I love that embossing folder.
But just to bring that out even more, we're going to come in with the old gilding wax. So this one's Empire Gold, which is that really light brassy gold, as opposed to the King Gold, which is a lot warmer gold that we used in the craft along earlier. So again, try and get it off your finger. It's as if you've stuck your finger in the pot and then realise you don't want it. And then again, we're just going to come and bring that veining out in the leaf with that lovely. And again, I love the teal.
You can almost hardly see the gold, but actually, all of a sudden, the veins just seem to pop.
Yeah, and when I tilt it into the light, you will be able to see that embossing. All right, I always go lightly first over the areas that I want, and then I'll go back over it to build up. Liam is dead on. He's on it in my ear. He's just said, go on, Liam. You can always add some more, but you can't take it back away. And this is why I don't advocate going in the pot here and going straight onto your work, because you'll just get that fingerprint full of gilding wax all over. And like Liam's just quite rightly said, it's not easy to get away from that then. So yeah, I'm just going to go all the way round. And then once I've got that layer down, I can then start and brighten it up a little bit. So just by going it over it a second time.
It almost intensifies the blue, doesn't it, on the
I just
emboss?
love teal and gold together. I just think it's just one of my sort of personal go-tos, and that pigment in those misters is just absolutely stunning. It really is. So again, I'm just highlighting some of those areas to get that gilding wax to show up. Oh, you
can really see it coming out gold now.
And again, pop that away. My apologies for using so many baby wipes today. I must admit at home I do tend to use the cloth more with the water, but for speed, this is one of the easiest ways of getting it cleaned up. So just to get it off there, And then again, I'm just going to bring in, I think I brought my, did I bring my ink? Yes, I did. So underneath here, I've got my Lagoon, Parakeet, the middle turquoise. And again, I just want to edge now. This matches beautifully, even though we've got 2 different products and 2 different companies. It matches that Pacific point beautifully. So again, I just wanted that round the edge here. And if you've got a few too many white areas, if you're not keen on the white areas, you can always fill a little bit in with the ink just to, but I'm not too worried about that. So that's that one. And then what I did was cut this into sections. I'm actually going to use this to decorate a box with. So the reason I cut it this size was because I wanted to get out of it a 5-inch square for the top of the box. And if I bring this in now, I've just cut some white cardstock. I just wanted to bring in a 5-inch one, and I've matted that onto some gold glitter card.
Beautiful.
And we've got that on there. So what I want to do is just see if I can get you, you can see it there now, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just brings that extra. Now you've seen us do it before where we've gone over with the ink, if you wanted a darker ink to highlight it, but I just think that gilding wax just brings an extra level. So what I did is I cut this piece out, and then out of the same piece, it left me enough. And that's why I started off with my 6.5-inch square. It's left me enough to do, and I'd rather do it all as one piece and chop it up than try to start doing these little tiny thin pieces. It's easier in the long run. So you can see, if I put this back together, you've pretty much, obviously I've got the mats and layers on there as well, so it's just taking it a little bit. But basically, all I did was cut the 3/4 of an inch from each side. All I had spare was the 4 little corners out of the original piece. So again, I've just had a quick look and remembered that we've got something for the back. And I did say that I was loving my vellum, and so I'm not apologising because we've got another one done on the vellum again. So this is like we did on that first demo. While I'd got it all out, I'd made a couple. I thought of you today, and I just love this particular sentiment. And we're going to pop that around here. That's why, again, tape on the back reminds me. So again, we're just going to pop that around here and then just stick it at the back before I actually stick it down. And then back to the old tape pen again. So again, nice and steady with it and break the adhesion. That's part of the key. If you get all that glue starts coming out of the end of the tape pen, again, it doesn't know what to do with it. So it's like it almost goes into shutdown mode. So again, this is going to go on the top, like so. And then we've got those pieces, but it's so vibrant, and that's the nature of those. They're all the same. When we used the red one last time, it was vivid red. And as I say, we made it, but it was just before Valentine's Day. In fact, it might have even been on Valentine's. No, I think it was before. So yeah, we made a Valentine's project with the red one. And as I say, the Poppy Parade is what I call a true proper, poppy red. You get lots of different shades of red, sort of going into that sort of corally shades, verging into the magenta and the pink. But yeah, this is a real nice, brilliant red. And then what else did we have in that set today? We had the Pacific Point, the poppy, and Flirty Flamingo is a really nice pink as well. Yeah, they're really nice, strong pigments in them, so you're going to get this gorgeous, bright colour. So literally, pop those on. And again, I love making my own gift boxes for things. And then I'm going to pop the corners together. So I tend to use the red line tape when I'm demoing, just for speed. Your tape pen is strong enough to secure the box with. If you prefer wet glue, you can do that. And then I know some people like to just pop a little clip in here until that wet glue's grabbed. But as I say, just for speed, I have a really nice relationship with my red line tape. As I say, I use it loads, probably way more than I need to, but it just does the job. So we've got that there. I popped the base together earlier on. It's exactly the same, done with the scoreboard, so I know that the top's going to fit on the bottom. And then, rather than flowers this time, I thought we'd just go with some little stars instead of the flowers. So I've got just some little scraps again. And I thought it'd be nice, you know, it doesn't have to be flowers all the time. And I know sometimes if you're wanting something, I know some fellas like flowers, but sometimes they don't want flowers. So yeah, I tend to go for stars or buttons if I'm doing something for the gents, okay? So because I'm going onto the vellum and onto the different mediums, I'm just gonna pop a little tiny bit of tacky glue onto the back of the foam pad, just so that it's got that extra sort of insurance. And then these ones I've left flat. So we're going to use the tacky again on here. Okay, Corrine very kindly retrieved my tweezers that had gone for a visit under the desk earlier. It's been one of those days today. I'm sort of hoping I get home in one piece tonight. We've had all sorts happen. And then that one, I'm just going to offset it on this side here.
Absolutely beautiful.
So again, it doesn't have to be, you know, sort of flowers and bows and lace and things like that. Turn you that one round. It's a nice size. It's actually 6 by 6, the box, with that element on top. And it was a 1 1/4 inches deep around the side. So again, you've got a nice little space, you know, to pop a gift in there. And I just think they're so much nicer than just buying those generic, I've lost one of my stars there because my glue hadn't set. Those generic boxes that you buy in the gift shops. And again, you've got that lovely sort of embossed detail.
Absolutely
just see it on
gorgeous.
There. Yep, so that was that airless mister. Again, just a different way to use it this time.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. Right, we've got a few questions, some about that. Question that came in a while back, so I don't want to lose it, says, hi Jan, Corrine, Crafters TV team. I have a question. What is the best way to store the Crafters Companion stamp cleaning solution? I don't think there's any specific way. Do you mean, this is from Sarah, do you just mean the solution that comes in the bottle? I'm assuming you do, because that's it's the only thing I can think of.
That one.
That one.
I'd just literally store it upright in there.
Yeah, so do I.
Don't need to do anything else with it.
Mine's just on my shelf at the side of my
yeah, I'd just
desk.
keep it upright in the bottle in either one of your organisers, or like you said, on the shelf with your
station.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
if that wasn't, if you wanted more, then please come back. There we go. Diet says, such a great informative show, learning so much. Lillian made me laugh. Jan's designer spray booth.
I know, it's excellent, isn't it? I bet you all want one, don't you?
And comments went really quiet because I think you were all sat watching and nobody was commenting. But then Evelyn says, could you drop some gilding flakes on the paper if you're letting it dry naturally?
Onto the one that we've just done.
Yeah, there's no adhesive there though, is there?
It would need some kind of adhesive for gilding flakes. You'd get away with things like mica and glitter, but I think the gilding flakes do need some kind of adhesive in there.
Yeah.
What you could do on there is, if you've got any of the little fine glue pens, is you could trace some of those larger areas of the embossing and then pop your gilding flakes rather than the gilding wax. So that would look really
wouldn't
pretty.
It? Ah, perfect, yeah. So, yeah, for gilding flakes, you will need an adhesive.
An adhesive, yeah.
Perfect. Kay says, that leaf embossing folder would be great in fall colours for backgrounds for fall cards or Thanksgiving. Love this. So do I. I've never seen that folder before. Jan, the pattern on the embossing folder looks like the pattern you get when you let glue dry on your skin and peel it off.
Oh, I love that bit. I used to like that bit in school when we'd had the little round pallets with the old glue spreaders in.
Yeah.
And they said, do you want us to take it? No, just leave it on the radiator, guys. and they'd leave them on the radiator so that when I came in the next morning, I got the pleasure of peeling all the glue out of the pots. That was one of the upsides of being in a classroom, yeah.
Joanne says, Jan never ceases to amaze me, love this. Michelle Parsons, I love abstract art because you can never mess up. You can't go wrong, can you? Because whatever you get is perfect. You just say, that's the way it's supposed to look. Exactly. That looks amazing, says Kendall. Lynn Harvey said, that's a great box. It looks fantastic. Lois says, love that technique. Beautiful gift box. Thank you, Jan. And Diet says, beautiful. Enjoyed this tutorial. Many thanks, Jan. Such great ideas. Now, couldn't agree more. Right, now, we're going to go for a quick break. And as you know, this is our Taste of Weekend. We're going to be mentioning it again all day tomorrow. Again, don't forget, whatever you order, wherever you are on the Club Inspire tree, shall we say, the ladder, you're going to go up a rung and get an extra 5%. So if you're platinum, instead of getting 20%, we're going to give you an extra 5% to give you 25% because there's nowhere else to go. So you're going to get 25%. So let's see a little bit more about our Club Inspire.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get social with us. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, on your TV or tablet, you can get so close to the action, it's like you're in the studio with us. You can ask questions about products or crafty techniques. Get hints and tips from our expert demonstrators. Plus, share pictures of your crafty makes with our amazing community. Crafters TV, getting you closer to the crafty action. We've got a double bill of great news for our US crafters. You'll now pay less for delivery and your parcels will arrive in double quick time. Our team has joined forces with UPS to speed up the delivery of Crafters Companion orders across the USA. Order online with us and your crafting treats will arrive on your doorstep in just 2 to 3 business days. And shipping will cost just $9.95, so you can treat yourself to even more crafting goodies. So head over to the Crafters Companion website to place your order today. You'll be getting creative with all your treats in no time at all.
Hello and welcome back. Liam just said to me, Mica's live. I'm thinking, the mica, because we've been talking about mica powder. I was like, the mica's live. He meant the microphone is live. But I was like, what's wrong with the mica powder? What's wrong with it? So if I looked a little bit startled, I was processing what was being said to me. I'm so sorry.
Oh dear.
The things you
Getting
hear.
late.
But to my defence, Nicola just said she heard that too. So there we go. Elocution, enunciate, that's the word I was trying to say. So, talking about mica, Kathy has said, will the mica show up when using the modelling or the texture paste and the Cosmic Shimmer pearlescent ink? That's going back to our very first demo in this show.
Right, not so much, purely because we've got that chalky texture in the texture paste. I was just using it as a colouring medium. You can see there, if I show you, this one's nearly dry actually that we did in the show. It's drying off nicely, but you can see you've got that lovely rich colour, but you do lose a little bit of the pearlescent nature.
There's
because
a bit still, isn't there?
it's still just a little tiny bit wet in the middle there. I think that's what's catching the light.
Right.
The sides have dried pretty well, but the chalk nature of the texture paste takes over the mica. Now, if you remember, I said that you could do this technique with pretty much any of the products. So you could colour your texture paste with that mister that we've just used. I'm going to bring up the intense pigment stains, which again would colour this. So it depends. I was just trying to show something different with the products that we've got. If you wanted the mica to stand out, then the technique that we did earlier, which I think is the reverse side of what I've just sprayed in here, this was just dropping it onto that watercolour card, and you can see here where it's pushed, you can see where that mica's collected in here. And this was a similar technique to what we've just done with the blue, but this was using those lovely pearlescent inks. So again, it was dropping it in and spritzing the water on it, chasing the water to make those lovely sort of rivulets, but the mica collects where the water's pushing it away. So you can see here we've got it all around the edge of those shapes. You've got that lovely, so it's almost picking the right product for the right technique.
We also said, didn't we, that you could also, while that paste was wet, you could put glitters on.
You could drop glitter into it, you could drop the mica powders into it. Yeah, there's lots of different things that you can add to it. But yeah, if you chose to use the pearlescent one for this particular, you know, technique, you are going to lose a little bit of that pearlescent nature, but it was just, you know, the colours are so pretty.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are. Right, now, I'm really excited about this, and I think this is the one where Jan is going to get filthy dirty. Yes,
I'm getting there as it is.
This is the one where she is going to look, she's going to become half Smurf, half Jan. So
this is what I was doing the other day, where the photo was from earlier, I must admit. And when you see my stamp, you'll have a good chuckle.
I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, I've just seen Jan's stamp. It's impressive.
Very pretty.
So let's have a look, because we're now going to use the intense pigment stains. Now, we've got, how many colours have we got? We've got
about six
colours. So these are all going to be the same price, $2.99 or $4.49, which, as I say, a platinum drops right down. Look at that. £2.24 or $3.37. So we've got Regal Purple. All of them are 19mm. Storm Grey, Blue Violet, Bluebell, Citrus Lime, and Forest Green. So you've got quite a nice range of colours in there. And the one Jan's using is a blue. I'm pretty certain it's a blue.
I've got the Blue Violet.
Blue Violet. There we go. Now,
hence
all of
the
those,
blue fingers.
All I said are $2.99 or $4.49 each. So pick whichever you want and make your own bundle up.
Yep. So again, these, we're still with Cosmic Shimmer, as I say, which are part of Creative Expressions, and this is their sort of like colour sort of range. Intense pigment stain. So the difference between the pigment and the dye is the pigments are natural colours, the dye are artificial colours. So the fact that this is a natural colouring from wherever it's been taken, you're going to get that intensity, and I really do mean that. Again, it's a water-based ink, so it's very similar to what we had in our mister. Okay, but you can just, if I hold this one, I don't know whether we can actually see it. Let me move the brown. I can actually see into here, and I can see the translucency of the ink in this one. It's not so easy to catch on camera, but when you look at it with the naked eye, you can actually see that translucency. It is a watery kind of colour in there. This one, the intensity of this is absolutely stunning. And what we're going to do today, again, you can do the technique like I did on the box, where you drop it and then spritz it with the water, and it will actually sort of do that starburst effect. You can pop a bit out and paint with it. You know, all those watercolour inks, you can do the wash techniques with them. All the watercolour inks will pretty much do the same technique. So it didn't really matter which one I chose to do which technique tonight. You're going to get that similar kind of effect. Now, what I wanted to do with these tonight is actually stamp with them. So again, I've got a piece of that nice watercolour card at the ready to receive my stamp, and I'm chuckling because when you see my stamp, I don't know whether I dare show you this, it's actually my beautiful Pretty Peonies from that Say It With Flowers. Stamp. It's a beautiful stamp. Mine's even prettier, mine's unique, because I really did mean, when I put it on here, that they are intense pigment stains. Now look at that. How many of you has got a stamp that looks like that, honestly?
It's quite
Now,
impressive.
it hasn't damaged the stamp in any way. All it's done is just colour.
And if you were to stamp that onto a piece of white now, it would do
it would
no
be fine.
harm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've cleaned it off as well as I can. It is the stain that stained the photopolymer, that's all. Sometimes it happens with our ink pads, particularly with the purples. It depends which colours you're using. It will stain the photopolymer. It's totally clean. I did a really good job at taking all the excess off it, but I'm going to do the same again now with it. So what we're going to do then is, these are just little tiny bottles, 19 mils, but again, you're going to get so much use out of them because you only need a little tiny bit. So they've got a nice built-in drop. I love the technique in here. Can you see? There's nothing coming out. So this one was probably the one to knock over earlier. Until I squeeze it, nothing's actually happening. So what I'm going to do is just squeeze out. Maybe I'll try that and see. We can always add a little bit more. As I say, a lot goes a long way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in it with the stamp. So just maybe to agitate it a bit first, I'll just spread it out a little bit so that it's not sort of clumping. So whatever tool, it can be the end of a paintbrush. I've just grabbed my my pokey tool there, whatever you've got handy. And then what we're going to do is literally go directly in here. So these are photopolymer stamps. And I'm literally going to use this now as like my ink to stamp with. So you want a really nice, good coating.
Unfortunately, because you've already done this, it's not going to be as easy to see where you've picked up because your stamp's already blue.
I didn't realise actually that it would sort of dye it quite so intensely, but you'll still get the same idea. And then I just want to grab my stamping mat. Because I'm using my acrylic block here, I'm going to stamp onto the stamping mat there. And again, I'm going to do, I don't think Liam's seen this. I don't know whether Nicola's seen it. Are you ready? You need the camera up here for a second, Liam. We're going to do, ready? A spritz and a waft. Just to gather that water, just enough. And then it's going to go down onto my card. And just like you would do normally. And that's why I've used the block. It's a little bit easier to manage than using, and normally you see me using the stamping platform, but to start wafting that about, it's a wee bit bigger. So yeah, you could end up coming a cropper. Well, I would, knowing me.
And
So,
would that have made a difference? I'm not just asking the question. That waft, it will have collected enough water?
yes, you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot because it's still wet. But I want it to actually soak into the card. I want that card to absorb, which is why I'm leaving my stamp on there for a decent amount of time. I want it to soak into that watercolour card. And when we remove it, you see, it's not gone as far. It wasn't as wet as I wanted it to be. You should have got a better image than that. So I hadn't wafted it and spritzed it quite enough. But you get the idea. I've got one that I've already done. And then I've actually taken my clear crystal glitter pen. And because this is technically still a wee bit damp, you can then start and pull the colour. Now, as long as you just really light with this, because you don't really want to agitate the line art too much.
Otherwise, you're going to get that.
Otherwise, it will just blur. So I'm just being really light with my, my pen here. As I say, it would have been better to have got a nicer image for you. I'll show you the one that I did at home. And I must admit, I did it 2 or 3 times before I got one that I was happy with. Again, it's just about the pressure. It's about whether you get that ink wet enough. Because obviously, as you're, leaving it in the air, the ink's going to start and dry, which is why I perhaps should have had a little bit more water. But if you spray directly onto the stamp, it's going to wet it too much. But you can just see how pulling that little bit out, and I love the blue.
It shows how much ink is actually there, though, doesn't it?
You can still see the line art underneath. It's not disturbed, the line art. As I say, as long as you're not going too heavy at it. If you keep going backwards and forwards over it, it's going to eventually lift the ink off the line art. But I'm just being really gentle. I just want to do the leaves rather than the flowers this time. I just thought it would be nice. And as I say, I wish we'd have had a little bit more. You'll get the idea when you see the one that I've done. I'm just being very quick with that. And I'm going to leave the flowers, all right. Normally I would colour the flowers in as well, but I just thought with this particular technique, okay. As far as your pen's concerned, just a few backwards and forwards on a piece of scrap and that ink's gone. It doesn't stain. It didn't actually work on my brush pen, so I didn't have a nice blue brush pen to worry about. So if I bring the one in that I've done at home, we got a much stronger image there with it. So I'd actually made sure that there was plenty of ink on, made sure that I'd wet it enough to actually go onto the card, and then you can see where I've just pulled it out a wee bit darker at the bottom, a bit lighter at the top, and then I've just taken one of my, because this is a water-based ink, I was safe to go in with my alcohol marker then, because remember we said opposites attract. So because it was a water-based ink that's created the line art, I've just gone all the way around the outside edge with a grey alcohol pen, and it just sort of lifts it off the edge of the card a little bit and stops it being so flat, but I'm going to leave it at that. I quite like the ideas of the flowers being white there. As I say, this wasn't the best demo because it didn't stamp out quite as vivid as I wanted it to. But you can see where we've got that design, and then I've matted and layered it on some blue and some silver glitter card, and it still sent a little bit sort of needed something, which is where the old pen came out and did the freehand. You've seen me do this before with the stitching line around the edge, and it just seemed to bring it all together. So with that one, I just thought it would look, because we'd done the frame when I did the alcohol inks when we were here last time, I just thought it would look really, and I've just kept it simple. This is just a piece of mount board, and I've actually popped a, you know, to make it as like a little photo frame. And all I'm going to do is literally mount this in the centre. Okay, as a piece of, I'm not even going to put a sentiment on it, just to make it a piece of artwork. Now on the back, I've got our sheets of double-sided foam, which you can buy in an A4 pack, should be on the website. And I've just cut a piece of this down to size, and you've got that release sheet on the back of there. So all I'm going to do now is make sure we're the right way up, and then I'm just going to centre this in the middle of the frame. And that is literally going to be it. I want to keep this nice and sort of elegant. The stamp just speaks for itself. It's a beautiful stamp. All right.
But doesn't it look different in blue? It just looks almost unrecognisable. Because we're so used to seeing it with the pinks and colours.
And then this piece, I've just cut a piece and just put a score line in it so that you can literally bend that piece back, and you've got that means to stand it up. Now you could add a sentiment to it if you're going to give this as a, you know, for an occasion. You could add one of those lovely sort of word dies that just say something like dream or hope or inspire, something like that as a piece of artwork. But I just thought on that frame, just to create like what would be like a frame, it would be nice to just display that as a piece of artwork. So yeah, that was the intense pigment stains with that one. Okay, so we've got that little bottle that does all that luscious colouring.
Absolutely gorgeous. Couple of comments. Maggie's Play says, hi Jan, love watching you and all your techniques. Our Susie says, wow, look how that ice grey makes the white flowers pop. Now, quick question for you. Jude says, did you double stamp? I think it means on the one that you showed us where you finished.
No, because I didn't use my stamping platform. I used the acrylic block, so I'd have been struggling to get it.
It just had a lot more ink on it.
Yeah, I must have put more ink. So when I actually picked it up off the mat here, there must have been a lot more ink at home. And I know for a fact that, you know, when you do the spritz, it's a case of catching the right amount of water on it, yeah.
Brilliant. Anne says, that image is stunning. Love that border. Jan is a genius with her techniques. Beth Valone says, this is gorgeous. Michelle Parsons says, I love this card. It's stunning. Our Susie says, how in the world are we going to pick a demo of the show?
Oh, bless.
Good question. Good question. I don't have to pick, so I don't mind. Right, now, I'm going to show you a couple of things. Now, we've shown you the acrylic pens in the Jewel that was part of the Mixed Media starter set. Now, we've got some more acrylic paint pens. I love this set. That's my favourite. It's out all the time. I have it in my craft bag all the time. We're going to give you the pastels, really useful. Remember, they'll go on all sorts of mediums, glass, plastic, metal, paper. You could get them on fabrics, whatever you wanted. So you've got, and let me show you this one, in the pastels, you've got this gorgeous rose, aqua, lime and lilac. So pretty. Now, this set you are going to find so useful. You have got in here, you've got gold, silver, black and white. I use the white, all the time for little splats. But you could use all the colours for little splats. Oh, should I have another pack, should I? What's the other pack?
Jewels Essentials. Yeah.
I haven't got essential, it's not even under here. Right, you're going to get essentials as well. We'll
That's
go
your
over them.
essentials with the black and white.
Oh,
in.
that's essentials.
The jewels was in the
that's
starter
why.
kit.
That's why. There we go. Because it's in 2 sets, they've only obviously got 1 set and they've put me and them in both. Right, I'll go back to this. Now, you know, you can do this. I just wanted to show you. So you have the same nib in all of these. Really useful. If I can show you, it is a 3mm bullet point nib in these. I just want to try and get one out just so that you can see on there. A nice nib. See, it's still big enough that you can colour bits in, but small enough that you can still do some of your techniques with. So that's really, really useful. They're just like pump action ones. So that's your essential. Sorry, that was me being a bit thick there. Gold, silver, black and white. And then in dual, you've got your pink, orange, purple and violet. So if I just put them all like that, those are the 12 colours you're going to get. And those today are $15.98 or $21.98. Is that a pack free? There we go, work that one out. Or even less, $11.99 or $16.49 if you are a platinum member. So yeah, effectively you're getting, well, you're getting more if you're platinum, but it's effectively a pack for free. So that's brilliant. Now the other set I've got here, hopefully I've got everything here, is our Mixed Media Explorer set. So you're going to get one of your packs of your double embossing folders. These are 7x2. I can remember these from when they come out. This is your Bloom and Grow. Look at that. Aren't those absolutely beautiful? Then you're going to get a cut and embossing folder. This is from the Country Lane. It's Gateway to the Country. And if I lift it up there, look, can you see? Where that's white, it's going to cut, and this bit's going to sort of semi-cut because it's got a hinge gate. Really, really clever. So I love the cut and emboss. Then we've got our candy cane. And again, that's a cut and emboss. So you look at that, so it's going to emboss all there and then cut out the aperture. That one's going to look amazing on a landscape portrait, isn't it? Then you've got a frame, your Sunflower Splendor. Done some really lovely demos with this one. And again, that's 2 dies, so you can cut in or cut out. Think of paper piecing with this one. Really, really beautiful. Then you've got your Enchanted Door. Now, this is a multi-set. So you've got the stamp, you've got the die, and look at all these extra little dies to create this. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? All of this comes in your kit, and then you're going to get your 10 sheets of your Ivory Centura Pearl. Look at that shimmer. You know what Centura Pearl looks like. So, Centura Pearl, your door, your sunflower, your candy cane, your Gateway to the Country, and your Bloom and Grow, all of that today, £30 or $35. That is probably about 60% saving. It's a massive, massive saving, and its platinum price is going to drop down to £22.50 or $26.25. Now, couple of quick comments. Says that image is stunning, love that border. Jan is a genius with her techniques. Oh, went through these, this is gorgeous. Love that card, it's stunning. Jan, that is so lovely, from Jean. That's a gorgeous card and what a fantastic technique, says Lynn Harvey. And Sherry says such amazing techniques. Now, we are going to have a look now at the Mixed Media embossing powder called Jurassic. Now, it's a mixed media embossing powder, and it's only $3.99 or $6.99. $2.99 if you're a platinum member, $5.24. You're going to get a 20ml pot, and I want to see how this works, because I don't think I've ever seen this one before.
Ooh, it's interesting.
Yes.
Again. Just before I go on to that, I forgot this bit. Just going back to that last demo where we did the frame. This is actually the same stains, but I've got the holly green and the was it royal purple? I think it was the purple one. I've done the same technique with the stamp. I've stamped it onto the watercolour card, and then very, very lightly with our little spray misters, I've just sprayed onto it this time, and you can just see how it's disturbed that ink a little bit.
Yes.
It almost looks as if the ink's run. But again, depending on the look that you're after, you get this lovely sort of wicking. Because that ink moves when it's wet, you just get that lovely sort of wicking with the ink. So again, just a different way.
A watercolour technique, look.
Yeah, of stamping with it, yeah. So that was just to pop with the one that we've just done. Now, the The embossing powder, this is different to anything that you would use for, when I talked about embossing sentiments on vellum and things like this, or if you were embossing onto cardstock or paper or anything like that, you would use what we call a fine detail embossing powder, and the granules in there are very, very fine, so that when it melts you've got this lovely sort of almost like gilded kind of effect onto your projects there. You can just see it shimmering in the light. Now this is very different in that the particles in here are much, much bigger. So when I open the pot in here, you can see that we've actually got much, much bigger particles in there, and it's going to behave differently. So we're still on Cosmic Shimmer, all right. They have a fantastic range of this kind of product for the colouring mediums and stuff like this. And it does say on it that it's a mixed media embossing powder. So there's a clue there on the pot that it's not meant for embossing sentiments or any kind of fine detail. It's more for covering larger areas or sort of melting onto different mediums. And in this case, we're actually going to bring in a piece of MDF to work on. So this one's called Jurassic, and there are actually different coloured particles in it. So if you think of Jurassic, you know, we've got that dinosaur era. The dinosaurs went extinct. There was lots of bones and fossils left about, and that's just what this looks like when it's melted. So I've just been through, I've got a box full of MDF shapes and different things. I've just brought a small one with me because it does take a little while to melt it. And I've actually done half of it already because there is quite a surface area. But when you just look at it, look, it's got that lovely shimmer to it, because it's almost like a, yeah, that's a really good, Liam's just said in my ear, enamelled. It just gives that kind of effect. And then you've got these lovely black splodges in it. And I just think if you imagine old fossil bones, and then the other one that we've got on is Dark Age, which is a really dark one, but it's got specks of like copper in it as well. So yeah, really good fun. So all I'm going to do is bring in my clear translucent ink. I've got my embossing powder at the ready, and I need my heat tool at the ready. So tools of the trade, good to go. Put that one on there. Oh, don't turn it on yet, Jan. See? Just can't wait. Oh, little fly. Hello. I don't know, just a little fly land on the desk now. It's like, where did he come from?
Are you right in that corner, Jan?
Honestly, it's all happening over here. You need to be over here with me. Yeah,
shut the window and keep the flies out.
Yeah, it's that window behind me that's letting all the flies in. Honestly. So, translucent ink then. This is why mine ends up such a nice shade, because I end up doing things like this with it. But I'm going to go direct. I've done nothing to the MDF. This is exactly as the MDF piece came from wherever I got it from. And I'm going to go straight onto it with my sticky ink. All right, so you want to literally coat it, and you can see it's just changed colour slightly. It's gone a wee bit darker. Not too worried if it overlaps the bit that I've already done. So again, whoops, nice sticky bits on there. And then we're going to pop this over the top. Now what I do need is a little bit of spare card just to grab my embossing powder. So I've got a bit here, and we'll just grab a scrap. And then what I want to do is literally pop the embossing powder. The embossing powder. You can tell it's getting late in the day, can't you? We're losing all sense of sanity now at this point. I'm not surprised. Feel free, Liam, honestly. This happens to me all the time.
What's he laughing about now? What did...
The fly, the window, bless him. You never worked with me before, have you, Liam? I've kept you entertained. So you think, right, okay, it looks fairly plain at the minute. So all the speckles, you can see in there that it's got all those little black speckles in. So I'm going to keep this to hand. I'm going to pop this on. Move that one out of the way, cover the ink up so that we don't get that covered in it. I can just tell with the way today's going that we're going to end up with all sorts of fun. And you want to get your heat tool up to its sort of hottest setting. So I've got it on number 2 at the top here. And you want to make sure it's nice and hot. The hotter the better. So just give it a second or two to get up to temperature.
I can't see Jan doing that. I'm not looking.
And then don't go too close to it because it's likely to blow some of this away. So can you see straight away, look? In fact, I'm going to turn it down one, a little bit ferocious. Okay. And then we're just going to hold this over the top. Now, bearing in mind we've got wood underneath here, it does take a little bit longer to melt, which is why I've done half of it already for you. So again, just hold it over the top, and we actually want those little embossing crystals to start. You can just
Oh,
see
you can
here
see
now
the colour change,
where
can't
it's
you?
changing colour, yep. So again. It wasn't that funny, Liam. It was only a fly. I don't know where it came from. He'd be saying, oh God, don't put me on with that Jan again, she's mad.
He's in holiday mode.
So again, just keep it directed. Once we've got this first layer melted, it will go, we're going to put different layers on it, so it will actually go a bit quicker. But as I say, with it being wood underneath, it does take a bit longer to melt that first bit. Now you can see.
Now you turn down the heat. It's not blowing away the bits.
No,
is it?
you've got to be careful. It depends how ferocious your heat tool is. That's why I used to like I would have had my little gentle one for this. But obviously, you know, it's gone to craft heaven. I don't think Liam had the pleasure of meeting my little purple one. You heard about it. It had a personality of its own, yeah. So I'm happy with that for now. And then what I'm going to do is we're actually just going to wait while it's cooled a bit, and then I'm going to come in with the ink again, and then I'm going to add another layer of the embossing powder. You can see there's quite a big difference between this side and how I've got it to look here. All right, so I just want to keep that to cool down for a second, because if I put my ink onto it straight away, it could be a little too much for it. So I've got a little bit of sticky ink on there that I want to get rid of. And then once it's cooled enough that it can handle, yeah, we're going to pop another layer.
Because it's mixed media embossing powder, you know, if you're trying to do enamelling with a normal one, if you get it really hot, you can get the next layer in while it's liquid.
Yes.
Does this not stay liquid long enough?
I think it probably would do on card.
Right.
But because we're working onto MDF, it just behaves slightly differently,
Okay.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is pop the rest of that for now back in there, so that then I can do the same again. So we've got that sticky ink over the top of what I've already embossed. So the next layer is going to stick again to what's already on there. So just move those out of the way, and then we're going to do the same again. Now you can do this as many times as you wish to build up that layer. Now I think a couple will probably be enough. So again, just be gentle with it until it starts to melt. This one should actually go quicker than the last one. Now we've got a layer underneath it.
Susie says, oh no, did the purple pretend heat tool finally die?
It did, yeah. I did say a few words for it at the beginning of the year. It went over Christmas, and it's been repaired once. And I just thought, poor little thing's been worked to death. I must have had it for about 15 years, which is testimony to the brand.
I love how they call it the pretend heat tool.
Honestly, Johnny used to get so excited every time. I had to bring it. I had to make sure that I did something that involved embossing when Johnny was on in the gallery.
This is, you never turned it on, really.
I always said to people, come and put your hand under it and tell me whether it's on or not, because yes, it does get, even though it's very quiet, it did get very hot. So again, you can see where it's actually chasing it about. Doesn't matter if you catch the bit that I'd already done, because, you know, you'll heat and remelt, and it just keeps going. And you can add as many layers as you wish to build up that level. And this is all stuck firmly now to the piece of MDF. And then what I started to do, just if you want some extra bits of that sort of dark, you can pick the darker bits out of the embossing powder. So I'm just looking for some of those. They're a little bit bigger, the darker particles, and just sprinkle them into that where it's still a bit warm. So you can just see how that sort of brings up.
Yeah, because that'll still be melted enough to hold it, won't it? It'll be the glue that holds.
Yeah, so you can see those dark spots coming into it now. So I'm not going to do a lot more than that.
And you actually can't see your join at all, can you?
So it's literally just melted into what we already had there, yeah. I think we're good with that. Now I will just say, I can't give too much information away, but I'm back next Sunday with a first look at something brand new for mixed media. And my goodness, has Leanne pulled it out of the bag? I can't wait. So yeah, I'm back next Sunday and we've got brand new products which are actually going to sort of go towards that mixed media line.
I've seen them. They're amazing.
Yeah. So I'm very, very excited to have got that first look at those next week. And then Leanne, I think, is launching them herself later on in the week. So if I just move that out of the way now, you can see we've got that lovely design. And I've never come across a product that would give me that kind of finish. If you look at the glaze on top of it, so whatever's in there has got particles in it that will give it that lovely shimmery finish in there as well. Absolutely stunning. Doesn't take too long for it to actually, it's still a little bit warm, but it's actually, you know, sort of finished off now. And then, you know, again, depending on what you want to use it for. So I'd actually just pulled some little bits out of my drawer. So I've got a little tiny bow. I've got a thanks there. It depends what you want to do with it. I'd just pop together, I've just noticed the time, so I'm just going to do this dry now. Just pop together a couple of layers again. Pop this in the middle.
Wow.
And then again, I was just going to pop some twine behind here again with a view of possibly making this into a hanging piece again, you know, so to just pop this behind it. And then I've got some other little embellishments. Again, I've got stashes full of these. I know Ben chuckles every time I talk about my gubbins because I've got little bits of stuff all over the place that you can use, you know, just to add that bit of detail. I did have another one of them, but again, the fly's taken it. I think it's gone. It's just been one I'm dreading driving home. Who knows? I'll probably lose a wheel off my car or something on the way home. It's going to be one of those days. But yeah, that was sort of the intentions with it. I had a third star because I like the set of 3. But, you know, just different ways to use it. The other thing that's quite nice as well, if you've got the metallic pens or even the acrylic markers, you can actually go around the edge of it. Now, I was working onto black, so I wasn't too worried. But if you're going to put this on white card and you want to disguise that sort of brown edge of the MDF, you can go round with sort of a metallic marker or with one of the acrylic paint markers and just colour the edge of it as well, yeah. So again, you know, however you want to use them, just to give you ideas again, but it is really nice stuff.
It's
it really
lovely.
is. It's different, completely different. When you think embossing powder, I automatically think of what we do on the sentiments and things. Completely different.
Absolutely fantastic. I hope you picked lots up. Everyone is saying, brilliant. We've had Shannon say, that's funny, embossing powders was the first thing I fell in love with for card making. So that is brilliant. Wow, says Lois. Another great demo, says Melanie. Right, she's saying super fast vote, please, says
crikey, look at the
Susan.
time.
Right, so that one's number 4. So
I don't know, are we putting that one in the vote?
Yeah, we can put that one in. We can put that one in.
I'll have to stick it together if it wins, won't I?
Yeah, if it wins, you will.
So, number 1 then, we did right at the top of the show that we did the texture paste with the coloured inks to colour it, and we popped it through that lovely garden party stencil there. So that was number 1. Number 2 was the airless mister, and we did that through the embossing folder, added a little bit of gilding wax. They're all singing Careless Whisper in my ear now, honestly. This is what we have to work with. And then that was those intense pigment stains that we did the stamping with and then just dragged a bit of colour out. So 1, 2, 3. And then the little one that I will stick it together if we're going to pop it in the vote. We've got that lovely little sort of plaque there.
Perfect. So 1, 2, 3 or 4, we're literally only going to be able to give you a minute to vote, and Susie's going to have to count really, really fast because we've also got to do demo of the day as well. So we'll do that. So if you wanted, please vote, and just remember, while we've still got the details on the screen, that amazing Jurassic embossing powder, if that is what you want, it is available today, $3.99 or $6.99, but your platinum price just down there, $2.99 or $5.24. Now, don't forget there is another colour on there as well. What did you say the other colour was called? It was called the Dark Age,
yeah, which is a really dark, almost black embossing powder, but it's got those little copper flecks in it as well, so you get a completely different look.
Perfect. Perfect. So if you want those. So we're going to recap on anything quickly while Susie's counting. Have we got time? She hadn't planned to. Right, we're just going to stand here then and just, no, I'm not dancing. That's not a chance. Not a chance. I will grab the stopper.
The stove stopper?
Right, this is going to take me a minute because bits have fallen off.
Oh no!
And then
Tell you, there's something going on in here today, isn't there?
it's time to go home. And look,
there's definitely
and
other
the pens
forces
have
involved
There we go.
today.
Right. Okay. Right where we started, right at the top of the hour for this show. Your premium white watercolour cardstock. You're going to get a pad of this, and honestly, when you pick it up, you can feel the difference. The quality is amazing. 300 GSM, you're going to get 20 sheets of that. We're going to give you blending tools, 4 of the blending eggs, 4 of the spritzer bottles. We're going to give you 3 of the tri-blend pens in those colours. Oh, just a minute, we've nearly got a demo, I think. We've got the acrylic pens, we've got gilding wax, and then we've got the re-inkers in FL3, good to see. Oh, sorry. And then we've got the, watercolour ink in Holly Green. So that's the one that Jan just did, stamped and then sort of gave it the water look. And then we've got Storm Grey in the Intense Pigment ink as well. All that today is for the amazing price of £40 or $60. If you're platinum, £30 or $45. Right, now I can't remember which was which. This doesn't surprise me now. Now that doesn't surprise me. I'm gonna have to, I can't mess around, I'm just gonna have to go straight in and say, demo of the day goes to number 3.
Excellent.
So that's your
was
blue
the
one.
stamping,
Right, I'm
wasn't
just
it?
going to
Yep.
come and grab it. 1 minute while Jan does it. I'm coming over there, Jan, if I may borrow that while you're popping down the other. It is pretty. It is very, very pretty. I do love that. And then, so we've got that, and then I've got 1, 2, there we go. Right, another quick count. Sorry, you were looking at a blank screen there. Another quick count up is number 1 was using our gorgeous frames where we started off the day. So that is number 1. Number 2 was the craft along. So if you remember, if you looked at that, this is that beautiful box. And then Jan showed you how to, let's call it freehand, make the frame. Looks beautiful. So that's number 2. So we've got number 1, number 2, or number 3 is the one we've just done. So hopefully you can see all of those. 1, 2, or 3. Please vote nice and nice and nice and quickly. Please vote nice and nice. Oh, Jan, it's time to go
it's time to go home, honestly. I've lost my little embellishment. I don't know where it's gone.
I've not eaten any chocolate all week. That's what it is. That's what the problem is.
It's definitely not under the mat. I've had a look under there. I think the fly stole it. I'm going with the fly.
What have you lost? One of your stars?
I had a little third star to put on, but yeah, I give up, honestly.
No one's seen a
It's
third
been one of
star.
those days today, hasn't it? Liam's still laughing, bless him. Can hear him.
Is the fly still buzzing around, or has it
No,
gone?
I've not seen it. It's left. It's gone with my star, wherever it's gone. Yeah.
Right. Do we have demo of... No, that was demo of the show. Oh, still waiting on demo of the day. Have you voted?
Now,
Have you voted? 1, 2 or 3? Come on, put Jen out of her misery. Let her go home.
I've got some mess to clean up before I
while
go
we're doing
home.
that, tomorrow I am back. I'm so sorry you've got me again tomorrow. But tomorrow it's myself and Craig. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. What have I got tomorrow then, Nicola, please? Oh, we've got a masterclass on scoring. Oh, that should be interesting. First thing. Oh, we've got first look now. I know what the first look is. It's called Colour Your World because I am launching it down at Hobby Maker on Tuesday. Yes, you've got to see this. The 12 by 12 paper pad is going to be your favourite of the year. I'm just putting it out there because it's going to be your favourite. We're only in 5th of March tomorrow, but it will be your favourite of the year, I can promise you that. And then we're going to have Second Chance Sunday. Got a lot on that because I've seen poor Jake getting everything ready on the table. That's going to be a big show. So, demo of the day, apparently, by a landslide, goes to, they've guessed it in this, to, absolutely, apparently by a landslide, it was the outright winner. There you go. I do like that, but I think that one was, they were all nice. They were all nice, but one has to win. That was a bit chaotic, wasn't it? But never mind. We can go home now. We can go home. Liam's off for a week. Nicola's back in. Yeah, I am, he says. Yeah, I am. I'm just going to say, if only you would have seen Liam today. Unfortunately, it can't be seen on camera, but it's been quite impressive. I don't know where to go from that, because if you knew what we'd see, we're going to go and we're going to see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 11 o'clock our time, 6 a.m. East Coast. Please join us. It's going to be really good fun. Myself and Craig, and thank you, Jan, for a lovely day.
You're
It's
welcome.
been really
I'll
good.
see you next Sunday, guys.
See you in the morning. Good night.